All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Wednesday afternoon, December 21st, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. There we go, John, right on cue. Perhaps a minute early yourself, but great to see you. Great to see all of our students inside our live trading room. We had Chuck just before, Scott, Allison, Mike, and all of us just otherwise just joining us right now. Alex, Andre, Ron, we got Dan, we got Mark, we got all of us just here joining us right now. So great to see you all. Great to have all of us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. So with that said, folks, we want to just hop right to it because we have the phase one stock course finishing up this afternoon. We'll be doing phase two next week, but for this afternoon's phase one course, we're going to be talking all about journaling to wrap up, and really just going over trades that we were taking from the morning into the relatively slow afternoon time. It's been kind of a drag taking us into this meeting right now, but I was actually trying to record a couple of videos for TradeStation that we'll look to post on our YouTube channel. We'll probably scrap those videos specifically for YouTube. They're pretty lengthy because this has been a slow afternoon. I've been trying to find some pops and some moves here and there, and it's been a grind. So, we'll actually show those videos, those trades that I took coming up in class later on today, and we'll look to journal those, trades all together, the entries and the exits. It was 2 wins, 1 loss. The loss was extremely small. Jumped back in on the same trade. That was one of the 2 wins, and with that, I mean, hey, IQ is on the screen to begin. That was not one of the stocks I ended up trading going into this afternoon, but definitely looks like it should have been. Ended up making a run up over 20% today. I've been talking about this for a long time, and it's not to say, oh, you should have listened. No, I'm just saying, like, this type of stock, given how much it had dropped off, I mean, off its IPO and just over the many years, I was saying like a number of months ago, probably back in like August or July time, broke lower since then even. But, at some point, this stock is going to make a pretty nice short squeeze. It's going to make a nice squeeze back up day over day. Not to call it a swing trade as much, but, something to keep on your side list day over day. And perhaps on a morning like today, obviously the Chinese stocks have been pretty bullish of late. This is one of them. We have XPEV, we have NEO, Got You, a bunch of different trades we'll go over. But this IQ, definitely, we're going to put on our watch list to start. And it's one that we are pretty familiar with. If you're a longtime student of CTU, maybe Alex P or Ron W, or if Grant or later or Mike or Phil, obviously here, Phil M. So, hey, we've traded the stock before. And right now, this is still more of a level 1 or 2 trade. Looking at the spread, looking at how liquid the order book is, this is the perfect type of stock for literally any one of our students or members inside our room here. So, great stock to start off with. What we'll do is go from top to bottom. No better place to start, really. And we'll be efficient with time. But I do want to go over a bunch of the other Chinese-related stocks that we've been calling out. They've all been doing pretty well for the most part. So, SINT we'll start off with here. This one ended up making a crazy pop. And it took a little while after the market opened up, but once it got going, got halted over and over again. It didn't really allow us for like a clean entry on this trade up until $12.11. And that was a pretty big level in its own right. I did not jump in there, but we had a few of us that had the chance to jump in very quickly on a small share size. They were able to squeak out $1, if not more. And, led to a nice squeeze running up towards 15. But, this stock was trending down for the last several weeks, if anything, or days, nonetheless. And, for as much as it goes up, it's going to pull back down pretty hard, off a major key level, a $5 incremental level, like 15, 5, 10, 15. That should be a pretty big level in its own right. It was, and, ended up dying off for a long time here. Now, I guess you could say it's trying to go back up, but I am not fully sold on it. I'll tell you that much. So, from the morning session, we did pretty well on it, at least early in pre-market, but otherwise for the afternoon, not really too much of a fan of it just yet. All right, let's see what else we got here in the meantime, though, folks. And I'll kind of just expand this price axis here, just kind of sift through the cheapies. This lace stock has been such a tease today, and it's not a surprise. We talked about it in the phase 1 course earlier today, talking about personality type or stock, characteristics in terms of, hey, this was a pretty choppy trade early in pre-market. Of course, it could run higher after the open, which it did, but nevertheless, it ended up making for a choppier move after lower highs, pulled back. Not a whole lot happening on this trade right now, so. Lace from the morning session, it was pretty good, but going into the afternoon right now, I'm not too much of a fan. For all of us inside the trading room, should be good to go, right? Phil, Mike, and all of us, and maybe a little echo, but One of us said can't hear. Hopefully, just maybe a little glitch. Maybe may need to just log out, log back in. Good. All right, just double checking there. All right, so Lace for right now, not too much of a fan. We're going to skip over this for right now too, and we'll keep it going. Got a shout from one of us inside the chat board here. Mark saying Newegg, Negg might be worth watching, and just with a little news clip there. We'll take a look at it coming up. Definitely. Just going to finish up going down the gainer side. If we run into it, perfect. VRNA. How about this from yesterday? This was like a crazy gamble type of stock from yesterday. It had a really big spread, thin order book. Right now, pretty much the same thing. This will open up in just a moment, I'm sure, the spread. But ended up continuing. What a move up today on the VRNA. Geez, whatever news came out and ended up leading to quite the reaction, even better today than yesterday. Is this at all-time highs? Getting close to all-time highs, seems like, on the stock. So, I'm not a fan of it just given the order book, but maybe Rich will call it out after 3 o'clock if nothing else from this initial list will move. I know Chuck was saying ALT ended up making a 3-point move up early this morning. It did off of kind of light volume though. Right now it's still holding kind of strong, moving back up to 14. The more and more buying we have off that 14 level, perhaps it will lead to that higher high. So I'll still give it a look here as a setup, Chuck. I'll put this on our main list. IQ and the ALT, at least we're familiar with this stock. And in terms of following the TradeStation Matrix or otherwise our level 3 program here, I know a lot of us have Bookmap level 4, and I always show that during the meetings. But even from the TradeStation Matrix, you could just see a ton of volume traded off that 14 level. So the more and more buying that we have off of it, then I'd like to expect for this to pop and run. Looks like we had a big spike earlier here. We'll see what happens. Looks like it could be a nice setup, though, the more and more breaks it has over that level. All right. Normally running with IQ, which is already on our list, is the HUIA trade. So HUIA, a little bit slower, I feel, but not as liquid even. So we'll see if this could even make a bigger pump up into the close, perhaps, than the IQ. But we'll put this on our list also. Got a bunch of different different stocks over the months and years that we've been trading them. KC. We'll jump to Neo in a moment. The Lee stock, perhaps. Maybe they're not up a whole lot percentage-wise. Maybe that might just be it. VKTX from earlier today ended up making a big run, continued push up. This has been good to us all week so far, but now at this point, pretty flat. Just going to jump ahead to the Neo trade. Ran up really nicely for the afternoon, breaking above resistance off of 1142. Ran up pretty nicely from there. XPEV, more of a slower grind. Now it's kind of flat. I mean, hey, it's up over 8.5 to near 9% right now, so still a pretty strong day for XPEV. Lee, more of a choppier trade for a $20 stock, so not too interested in that right now. It's kind of grinding on up towards the highs. Nice little trade there. It's up, nicely on the day, but I'd rather have something a little bit sharper in terms of volatility. This Billy stock could be it. I mean, it ended up making a big squeeze up pretty nicely going into the mid-afternoon. I personally missed out on this. I was personally more invested into the TAL, which we'll also jump to, the XPEV as well. We'll talk about those trades in the phase 1 stock course coming up. But Billy missed out on this thing. Ended up making a nice squeeze up as high as over 23.50. Now at this point pulling back, so it doesn't look as good there off that little pullback, but it's probably the most volatile of those Chinese stocks, which I mean volatile in a good way. It's still pretty liquid. So, it wouldn't be terrible to put this on our watch list, but we'll keep with what we have for right now, and then we'll maybe jump back to this by the end. But let's see if there's anything on the loser side right now. I mean, the SPY's kind of gone nowhere all day today, up and down in that tiny little range after the market open. So Rite Aid breaking all-time lows. I think one of us mentioned that earlier today, Michael, right? Ended up making for a nice drop off of earnings. And hey, it is shortable on TradeStation. So this isn't exactly too close to the ground floor, compared to some other stocks I say that are. So Rite Aid, I don't mind putting on our watch list as a continued short heading into the close, breaking all-time lows, right? No historical support to work with. Really just got to follow level 3. So once again with the TradeStation matrix, I mean, it's right off the lows here, pretty simple, but you have about 100 plus thousand shares that are right there off of that 365, 366 area. We'll see what happens coming up. If it could re-break below that price, and if it could, then all bets could be off. This could be all the way down towards $3 before the end of the day. We'll see. Otherwise, if it's a head fake and it breaks under and over, then it could lead to a nice dead cat bounce, down over 15% on the day, which isn't really a whole lot percentage-wise on one day that we follow a stock, on bad news or a short, whatever it may be. But the fact that it's at all-time lows took a huge hit, it could lead to some bigger short covering in case if it's a head fake here. BlackBerry. I keep getting this confused. My trader's dyslexia. BlackBerry, BB, Bed Bath Beyond, BBBY, otherwise Bobby J, right, Fausto? There we go. So BlackBerry, BB, ended up making a nice drop today. Is this also at all-time lows? This has some history. I know it does. So I don't think so. Back from 2020, pandemic, 270, and probably more data from back then too, like 2005 and prior. So, right now as a short, it could be worth watching, but in terms of what's more worth the opportunity, I feel like the Rite Aid trade's a lot more interesting, a lot more, eye catching. All right, what else we got here, folks, to wrap up the loser side right now? I don't really see a whole lot that stands out name brand wise. And that's all right. We don't really try and follow the NASDAQ 100, S&P 100 stocks mainly, but you know what I mean, popular companies, stocks that we've traded before that could be off of news otherwise. I don't really see much here. All right, so let me check out Benzinga Pro. Let me check out Newegg first from Mark B. Nah, this isn't trading any volume right now, Mark. Remember, we were just talking about this in the phase 1 course. We did this back on Monday this week, back on, a couple days ago in terms of volume. You want to have a stock trading well over 229,000 right now. I mean, bare bones minimum we look for at this time of the day is like $500,000, but a lot more than that typically we want to have. So, if it ends up making some sort of pop or, whatnot, then we'll be there to call it out at that point. And it's okay if this ends up making the initial pop without us, but it's just, hey, if we follow this, we'll follow 100 other stocks that look like this right now, right? So, that's where we got to go through our criteria that we teach you in class. IQ, ALT, HUYA on the way up, all look pretty good. All look pretty sharp for right now. And then the Rite Aid trade on the way down, right? We got a short there. All right. For any one of us on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, let me know if there's anything else that I'm missing here. I'm going to check out Benzinga Pro now, I guess, and see if there's anything I'm missing. APCX. Nah. Might have to update my volume scan here on my Benzinga Pro platform, but let's see what we got. EPCX. We got the lace trade going back to this. It's still so choppy. I'm not a fan of this right now. If it ends up popping while Rich is on the mic, then we'll see if it ends up making a stronger move, but we'll pass on it. You got the Nikola trade, NKLA. Look at this little volume spike coming in here. 244, 243, bunch of big green prints coming in. So this could also be a potential short squeeze over time. Again, don't try and invest and swing trade it, but as a day trade at least, I mean, hey, it's up over 5%, cheap stock, definitely level 1. Wouldn't hurt us to slip this just on the back end for right now. If it ends up pulling back or if it ends up holding here, then not much of a trade to work off of. But the more buying you have off that 244 or otherwise short covering perhaps, that could lead to a really good rally into the close. So for right now, not bad. Oh, last one. I'm sorry. Got reminded from one of us on YouTube right now, the Cint trade to go over it. Well, we covered it at least from earlier. Popped up and got holded a few times over and over earlier. So, right now it kind of just broke under and over that big print level we were referencing, that 12.11 price. That was a halt print level that we had called out. So if it ends up running miraculously from here, great. But the order book is so thin. This is a complete gamble stock. So, I'm not looking to gamble here this afternoon, and I'm teaching, right? So, that's where I say for any of you folks here, new students, this would not be the type of stock to follow right now. If you're a more experienced trader that knows what they're doing in terms of position sizing and risk management, then, then that's a little different if you want to have a little fun, roll the dice there. But I think there's just better trades, right? there's just definitely better trades you can make, like easier money on. All right, folks. So for all of us on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, hey, if you're interested in joining our live trading room, go right down to the link on the green banner below right there, the stream, to get yourself started. Got to type my email here before we finish up. But if you have any questions prior to joining, or otherwise just any questions in general, make sure that you just email me, josh@c2trading.com. Always like to post my email here at the end. But otherwise, for Michael and Leda and Allison and Grant and all of us just here live, I look forward to seeing most of us in class coming up. For those of you not joining class, best of luck trading going into the market close. If you're looking to learn more about our classes, our phase 1 classes, phase 2 next week, so forth, just make sure that you call our office or talk to your education advisor here in the chat board, and they'll be able to go over further details with you. All right, folks, talk to you soon. Take care.